Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
Better than UConn and Purdue.
I'll take that one first. I'm not ready to say that they are better than them, but I am ready to say that they belong in the same tier as UConn and Purdue. I said this the other day. I feel like we got a little bit ahead of ourselves in saying that UConn and Purdue had fully separated from the rest of college basketball. The Purdue plays in a conference that it might as well be a mid-major outside of themselves. Once you get outside of West Lafayette, Indiana, they play home games in Ann Arbor. Okay, that's the situation that we're talking about right now with the Purdue Boilermakers. So I think that they kind of you get through the rolling in the league, you get a bunch of wins, and it's a little bit of a different level than what Houston has been able to do as they're running through the Big 12. Same thing with UConn. If you looked at their schedule, it was really, really backloaded, and they played a bunch of like the bubble teams in the Big 12. They played DePaul and Georgetown twice each, and they put together this 14-0, 14-game winning streak that was really damn impressive. But it also came against like a bunch of bubble teams and teams that UConn should have beaten and won all of those games by double digits. So I think that the level of separation that we kind of viewed between UConn and Purdue and the rest of the field was probably bigger than it deserved to be. And I think that Houston has proven that the last couple of weeks doing things like, going on the road and beating a really good Baylor team. So I'm in on Houston. I think it's a top three and then everybody else. And I don't think it's as big of a separation as we probably saw before. Sweeney, am I crazy?
I don't think you're crazy. Look, I think the thing to me that I was probably more curious about with Houston to get them into that Purdue UConn category was I just thought the makeup offensively, and we talked about it a little bit last segment, right? Like how do they generate consistent offense, right? I felt like with UConn, they had multiple ways they could score, right? They could flow into ball screens with Tristan Newton. They can, go into, off ball action and get open shots for their shooters with Caravan and, obviously Cam Spencer. They could post up with Klingon, right? Like they have so many options. And Purdue obviously can go to Edey. They can play in ball screens with Braden Smith, right? Like they have so many different ways that they could score. I felt with Houston, what would we see when things would go wrong offensively? And I think we've started to learn that Jamal Shed can be that takeover guy. And so if he can be that dude, and he has been in a lot of these big games for them, then they have an opportunity to be just as good as UConn and Purdue. I think they belong in that conversation. So I won't say that they're better. I know that KenPom does. I cannot say that they are better, but I think they are on that same tier. If we are building the tier one title contender list, it is Purdue, UConn, and I'm willing to include Houston in that conversation.
Willing to include. Did you hear that? It's like charity over here. I'm willing to allow Kelvin Sampson, who has finished no lower than top two in KenPom since 2021. Sweeney's willing to include him in the top tier. Kevin Sweeney.
I don't think they were waiting for the invitation. I will say though, guys, I would just love to see the matchup with either of these teams, Houston and UConn, Houston, Purdue, simply just because I want to see what Klingon and I want to see what Edey would do against Houston's physical front. Like it's obvious, like with like Juwan Roberts is not going to just like he's not going to overwhelm you. He's not going to try to look to score the ball necessarily, but like we know what he does with his physicality. He's going to be undersized. He's going to be at a disadvantage there. But Rob, brother, I would love to see it. I would love to see the Houston front line against either of those guys. I hope we get it.
Hey, can I tell you this, John? Where are you from?
901, Memphis 10.
From Memphis, right? Memphis is in what conference?
The American Athletic Conference, baby. Let's go.
Is there anyone happier to see Houston off doing this to a different league than the league that you have been watching for the last
Dude, like that's why like I have a soft spot for Houston. Because I've seen it up close, man. I've seen it up close
because they're gone now. Yeah, you love them now. You hated them last year.
I loved the meetings though. I loved getting a chance to like see Kelvin Sampson do his thing in the forum. I missed that because like Dusty May is in FAU, like that was the whole thing. Oh, they're going to come in and they're going to replace, bro. That I was sold a bill of goods. Yeah,
you got lied to. It was actually Amir Abdur-Rahim
going to come in there. Kelvin Sampson. Who told me that? Who told me that bullshit?
I mean, even if Kansas beats them a second time, it would require Houston to lose again, whether it's to Cincinnati, Oklahoma, or UCF. And those are, the bottom half of this Big 12. I think Houston is in full control of this Big 12 title race. And as you said, John, like, unbelievable coaching job, right? I mean, I remember Kelvin Sampson at Big 12 Media today saying, like, there's no, there's most small dogs in the Big 12. Like, there's no Shih Tzus.
Right.
Like, it's all tough. It's everybody is scary every night. And he walked in there and was the biggest dog there is. Like, they're number one in KenPom, top 5 in KenPom 4 years running now. Lose Jarris Walker and Marcus Sasser. Like, you're not supposed to be able to do that, right? Like, nowhere else in college basketball that is not like the blue blood of the bluest of blue blood is losing multiple first-round picks and turning around the next year and being as good, if not better. Is moving up
going to a new league too, Sweeney.
Yes.
It's not just being better; they're going to a new league.
Yes, and not just moving up new league, moving from a league that was borderline mid-major to the toughest league in college basketball, and may win that league by 2 games. Like, if they beat Kansas to end the season, they're going to win the league by 2 games. How unbelievable is that?
Well, I think it's also a testament to. I mean, it is a testament to the way that Houston scheduled, right? Like, they were, like, Kelvin always prepared his teams in the non-conference, so you just kind of invert it, right? So you play. And I'm not saying every game they played in the non-conference was brutal, but they had no problems playing at Alabama, right? I mean, they would go out and they would try to kinds of games. So, and it's also, Rob, a style that just, I mean, it's physical. It travels.
Yeah, that's so. My concern with them was what happens on the nights when the shots aren't going down, right? Or I'm sorry, what happens on the nights when the team that you play is making shots at, like, I think at the end of the day, great offense is always going to end up beating great defense. And I feel like there's going to be a point in time where Houston runs into a team that is making a lot of really difficult shots and really on fire from 3, and that it can kind of take them down. And the more I watch them, and the more I'm sitting here, I'm like, maybe that just doesn't even matter with this group, right? Like, Jamal Shead is so impactful on both ends of the floor. He's the head of the snake for them, offensively and defensively. He is the reason why their defense can operate with the level of pressure that they do. He is why they get as many easy shots as they do for guys like Jawan Robertson, Javier Francis, and Emmanuel Sharp, and LJ Cryer. They have 3 guys that can really fill it up on their perimeter, and they just understand and know who they are, how they want to play, and what the job is for them, right? And I think we talked about this a little bit with RJ Davis and Caleb Love and the way that they're kind of built. But the more that I watch this group play, and the more that I see them just kind of keep rolling through the Big 12, which, like, I think is a little bit overrated in how good it is. There's just so many teams that are, like, all kind of as good as each other and as good as the next guy, but to see them just continually roll through the conference is a really, really impressive thing. And I'm kind of at the point where I don't think it's just UConn and Purdue anymore. I think it's UConn, Purdue, and Houston in terms of the top tier in college basketball. And that's not something anyone that listens to the show knows that's not something that I would have said 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, but they just keep doing it, man. Like, and at some point you kind of got to, like, just tip your cap and say, all right, you know what? I might've gotten this one wrong. That, like, they know who they are and they play to that style. And that is something that's really, really impressive to watch.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field 68 content.